bishop pair. Every grandmaster loves them. I love these bishops. That's why I've spent hours to analyze why that's the case. I went through all these games to understand the intricacies of the bishop pair, and that resulted in 5 principles on how to play with the bishop pair. And I will take you through examples on how top players manage to win with the bishop pair, and a must-see brilliant game in between. Are you frustrated that you're stuck at your rating? Then you're at the right place. So this game is from our well-beloved Vladimir Kramnik. He shows you why this first rule is so important to you. Put your pawns on the color of your opponent's bishop. And that's what he does. What's the best move in this position? c4. Why? Well, we're going to blockade this bishop. And after rook e8, we play the move d5. And see how this bishop has barely any breathing room. And this bishop is just super good on the diagonal. So put the pawns on the color of your opponent's bishop. And this one is a tip you must know. With 2 bishops, know when to trade and when not to trade. So in this position, after white plays bishop to f3, you can actually trade it off. But that would not be helpful for you, because you want to keep the 2 bishops and they're super powerful. So here, c6 would be the best move, refusing to trade off. And we keep the bishop pair here, because with our pawns we can restrict the white bishop, referring to tip number 1, and then our black bishop will thrive in between. Keeping the bishop pair is one of our key principal tips on how to play the middle game. Check out this video here to increase your rating. So, for example, after d4 in this position, here we want to get the king into the game. That's what our opponent does as well. And with g6 we restrict the bishop even further. See? That's how we play this. So keep this in mind. Also, know when to trade the bishop pair. For example, in this position, white to move, we see that we're attacking this knight. But we have the bishop pair. Should we keep it or trade it? Well, in this position we actually trade it. Why? Because we thought about the moves to come, right? So if you take the knight, black has to take back. Now, do you see a move where we can exploit black's weak pawn structure? Yes, rook c1. And if the king goes forward here, we place our rook here. This pawn is weak. We have the double pawns here. This pawn is weak. And this will be a winning position for white. So know when to trade. Look at this position. This is how we introduce the next tip you have to be aware of. 2 bishops are super strong with a passed pawn. So know when to trade. We get back to when trading in a bit. But first, we will show you how these 2 bishops are so strong with a passed pawn. White to move, you simply push the pawn. The rook is useless. It can just only take the pawn. If the king approaches, we push the pawn forward. If the king approaches even further, then we play bishop to f2. Look at this. It's like climbing a ladder. By the way, we have another movie on ladder checkmates. Check it out here. If the king comes forward, we push the pawn. And here, we can simply win the rook. There's nothing black can do about it. But then you need to know how to give checkmate with the 2 bishops against the sole king. We have a video on that as well. How do you do this in the game? Well, trade off at the right time to create a passed pawn. Well, in this position, white saw what to do and played a4. The knight has to move because it's being attacked. Now the knight attacks our bishop. We need to move. We cannot take it because this pawn is being defended. So we go into the corner. Now the pawn moves forward. And what should we do? Should we take the knight or leave it? Well, of course we should take it. If you take back, then we move our pawn forward. And it cannot be stopped here. And our king is close enough. It's within the box. So it can always stop this pawn on time, right? So if it goes forward, we're on time. And then, a bonus game you had to see. This is a beautiful attack with the 2 bishops. So, do you see the best move for white in this position? I bet you do. Boom! Boom! Bishop takes on h7. If you take back, well, then do we bring in our queen? Do we bring in our rook? No, of course not. We simply I'm Mr. X, and if you like this video, please make sure to subscribe. Sacrifice our second bishop, because we had two. Why do we want to keep both of them? Sacrifice them. If the king takes, our queen gets into the game, the king has to go to the corner, we slide in our rook, black has to defend this square, otherwise it's a checkmate there. We play rook to g3 and we threaten mate in three ways. Here, here and here. So for example, if you play a queen here to put it in between in case we play this move, we have a checkmate over here. What a stunning finish by white. I wouldn't say it's a tip to sacrifice both bishops. Only do it when you're certain, but listen to the other tips I've given you. And that's how you will win your games. And this tip helped me a lot. It's a game from Fischer with the white pieces. Of course he's going to win. As you can see, he has the powerful bishop pair. But how does he exploit it? Well, knight b1. Exclamation mark. Why? Well, the white squares are super weak. See? And the knight wants to go there. That's what it's going to do. Knight to c3. Going here. Trading off the knight. And now the queen comes in. And that brings us to the following tip. Trade off at least one rook when you have the bishop pair. Because a rook and two bishops are super powerful. So after rook a1, we don't want to trade it off ourselves, but on our terms. So after c3, black takes, and now we have the powerful a file. And we can simply squeeze our opponent bit by bit. The rook has to defend, the rook comes in, cannot be pushed away, and now we bring in our bishop. Look at this. Dominating the opponent on the white squares. And this went on for a while, but Fischer won this game. Why? He traded off one rook and exploited his bishop pair in the best way possible. This is a very helpful tip. Exploit the distant king. What is the best move in this position? Yes, king g5. Why? Well, the rook doesn't have any squares. So, if we move the rook here, then we have a check. And we fork the king and the rook. And what if the rook goes here? Then we pin it to the king. And if you defend it, well, we go back. Because now, this rook cannot move. So, if the king goes here, you simply take the rook. Why are these bishops so powerful? Well, I think this is a very telling example. Look at how the bishops totally dominate these knights. Or these knights. Regardless of how you pronounce it, they're just super bad in this position. To the extent where you can just simply gobble up the knight. The knights cannot go anywhere without being captured. Look at this. So the best move in this position would be to go with your king here. And this king is boxed in, you cannot move the knight still. The king cannot get any closer. And you just take a stroll. Up. Up. That's what you do. You just gobble up the knights. Up. 1. And 2. Put your squares on your opponent's bishop. Put your squares on the color of your opponent's bishop.